will always remember my summer in Hong Kong. As a fifth grader in 2018, I traveled with my mom, dad, little sister, and grandparents to the vibrant city known for its stunning skyline, bustling financial center, and its status as a global trade hub. For a young girl like me, it was a trip filled with excitement, adventure, and an endless sense of wonder. Little did I know though, this trip would teach me one of the most important lessons of my life. During my time in Hong Kong, I visited many fun places. Some of the highlights were Disneyland, Tiantan Buddha, Ocean Park, Victoria Peak, Ngongping 360, and many others. It was truly a dream come true to see all these amazing sights. At the time, I didn't have a phone, which allowed me to fully appreciate every moment and enjoy the beauty of the city without distractions. However, I soon came to realize just how fast-paced life in Hong Kong really was. People were always on the move, rushing around with a sense of urgency, as if time was always running out. Just like our daily routine, my family and I often went to the MTR station to get to our next destination. The MTR, or Mass Transit Railway, is the lifeline of the city, and it's always packed with people. On that particular day, we arrived at the station to catch our train, and as usual, the platform was full of people eagerly waiting for the next one. I clung to my mom's hand, and as the crowd surged forward, the train was approaching. My heart was pounding in my chest, and I felt really overwhelmed by the sheer number of people rushing to the board, all of them trying to get a spot as quickly as possible. When the doors of the MTR finally opened, people pushed to get inside. It was like a wave of people moving in one direction, and as a small child, I could barely keep up with the pace. I felt tiny and lost in the crowd. The doors were about to close, and in that moment, panic set in. I tugged on my mom's arm, begging for her to wait for the next train. But the situation was moving too quickly. The doors started to close, and in a split second, I watched as my entire family stepped inside the train. Before I knew it, the doors were closing behind them, and I was left standing alone on the platform. My heart sank. I was alone, separated from my family, in a foreign country with no phone, no way to communicate, and unable to speak the local language. I felt a wave of fear wash over me as I realized I had no idea what to do next. What's going to happen to me? I thought. And just as I thought the train would leave without me, I heard a strange sound from the doors. It wasn't the usual sound of the doors closing, but something different, almost like a malfunction. It was at that moment that I realized my dad had managed to wedge his foot between the train doors. The sensors detected it and prevented the doors from closing, making the train couldn't move. I saw a local man on the platform rush over and scold the security guard for being so nonchalant about the situation. And not long after, the train doors opened again. Tears immediately started streaming down my face. I was still shaking, and all the fear and anxiety I'd been holding in finally burst out. When I got inside the train, my family was there waiting for me, and they rushed to hug me tightly. They were just as frightened as I was. A group of school children who had witnessed the whole thing even offered me tissues to help me with my tears, which was such a kind gesture. My mom and dad held on to me, and I could feel the relief in their arms as they comforted me. They were scared too, and in that moment, we all realized how much we meant to each other. We also realized how easily things could have gone terribly wrong. That night, my mom cried. She couldn't stop thinking about what might have happened. It was a traumatic experience for all of us, and for a while, we viewed Hong Kong as a place we'd never want to visit again. But through it all, I learned an important life lesson. Always stay close to your family and be prepared to respond quickly in tough situations. Despite the fear, this trip to Hong Kong remains unforgettable, not just for the places we visited, but for the life lesson I learned that will stay with me forever.